right, welcome back everybody to another episode of Forgotten Firsts. This is the video series that I do where I talk about those first appearances that you just may not be thinking about right now, that it's just kind of in the back burner for most people. So I just kind of want to talk about them now, whether I'm reminded for one reason or another. I decided to switch up my lineup a little bit. I know Fridays I usually would do dollar bin digging, but I think I'm shifting that to Thursdays now and going to do this Forgotten series on Fridays because I like alliteration. So Forgotten Fridays has a nice ring to it. So I'll usually be dropping either a Forgotten Firsts, Forgotten Variants, or Forgotten, later printings episode of sorts on Fridays going forward, I think. Because again, I like alliteration. Who doesn't? Now, that being said, hopefully you like the stuff that I'm doing on my channel. If you are, let me know in the comments. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing this channel. And if you want to see the stuff that I want to talk about this week as far as first appearances go, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I'll be right back with the books. All right, so this week I have a couple of books that I want to talk about that I'm kind of inspired by last week's issues. Some things happened in Marvel Comics last week that just kind of inspired me to look back at some characters that, might not be thinking about their first appearances anymore right now. That being said, let's just get in with our first one. And the first one I want to talk about is Spider-Man. I'm a big Spider-Man fan. I'm trying to fill out my ASM run. Still got plenty to go, but last week, I think it was October 13th, thereabouts, Amazing Spider-Man 76, we can see in the last couple of issues, Peter Parker got pretty messed up. So he is out of commission for the time being. So this Beyond storyline, I believe, is going to run for maybe close to 20 issues from what I read, 19 or something like that. And basically, it's going to be Ben Reilly taking the reins over as Spider-Man for the time being. There was a little bit in the storyline where they were going to share, but with Peter's condition worsening to the fact that I think he fell into a coma, that it's going to be all on Ben Reilly's shoulders for now. And he did go with Peter's blessings before, falling into that darkness. Again, this is what happened. Again, if I'm ruining anything, it's been over a week, so you've had time. Amazing Spider-Man 76, that's kind of a quick recap of where we're at. And if you want to look at Ben Reilly's first, we got to go back. Clone Saga, people. I know everybody loves the Clone Saga from the 90s, but way before that, this book got super hot because of that reason with these two Spider-Men in Amazing Spider-Man 149, where the Jackal cloned Peter Parker. And then Marvel tried to do the whole Clone Saga where they tried to make it whereas it was the clone the last 20 years or so in the Spider-Man titles, and you didn't know who was who. And then they decided to back off of that and switch it back. Retcons. What are you going to do? Clone Saga, I know, is a sore spot for a lot of collectors, a lot of readers. It was just very convoluted, took way too long, and just got way too complicated. And then they didn't really hold to a lot of what they decided to do anyway. So it seemed like a real big waste of time. That all being said, you still go back to ASM 149. That's where you're getting Ben Reilly's first appearance way back in October 1975. So this is even before I was born. And like I said, first Ben Reilly, you're going to find it there. Even though he didn't go by Ben Reilly then, it is what it is. Now, still, this is a book you could find out there. I found this book a couple of times in dollar bins because you're not going to find a 9/8 shape like that. But, you'll still find copies in those cheap boxes. They are out there to be had. And again, Ben Reilly's an interesting character. I mean, they kind of give him his own look, his own costume here with the new Spider-Man. And it's going to be an interesting little run. I mean, it's better to have him for like a short term than try to do like a huge replacement. And also it's kind of tough him running side by side because then nobody's going to buy that Ben Reilly, Spider-Man series while they're buying Peter Parker. It's just he's too much in shadow. But if you just give him the spotlight for a short time, I think it'll be better for his character long term by just giving him that giving him the reins just for a little while, because then the classic readers will know it's not forever change. It's just a temporary thing. Just sit back and enjoy it while the fans of Ben Reilly can say, look, he's finally getting his shot, his moment to shine. I don't know. I think it's a good plan for right now to do something like this. Kind of mix things up, especially with, I guess, a little bit of uncertainty what we're going to get going forward with the movies. But that all being said, this book is still pretty cool and one you can find out there. If you're curious about what you're going to find as far as the market goes, you can see this thing can sell anywhere from like $26 to $40 to a best offer on 200. Like, I know $200 is a lot, but It is. It sells, and there's a lot of copies, and a lot of these move. And depending on condition, you get a wide range of prices on this thing. But definitely fun, and definitely pretty cool. Another book that I just kind of want to talk about in the Spider-Man universe, some of my buddies were talking about it as well, is ASM 30. This is from June 2001. This is the Campbell covers. We had a couple of Campbell covers. This little run, I think Romita Jr., JR was doing the interiors, which I know a lot of people don't care for his art, but he's hit and miss for me. But I want to talk about first Morlun, because this is a character that we could see still having some legs going forward. I don't know if he's going to show up in any movies or anything like that, but you never know. And this is still a relatively inexpensive book, this ASM 30 or Legacy number 471, depending on how you want to do it. I liked how they at least did the Legacy numbering back then. You give me a sense that you were still having some long-term continuity, because I hate the renumbering. I really do. I wish they would just stick with the original numbering and just roll from there. But what are we going to do? But Morlun is an interesting character. I know he's got like a little bit of a Sebastian Shaw Hellfire Club kind of deal going, Vlad Tepes, Dracula type thing, but still interesting character. You also get a first Ezekiel in this book as well. So that's a second first appearance that you can get that, a lot of people just aren't thinking about. I mean, Ezekiel just kind of plays that sort of mentor role for a little bit in this story, as Peter is introduced to this whole idea of like spider totems and how he was chosen. It gets a little bit of mystical aspects to the story. It gets a little wonky, but it was a different take from John Michael Straczynski back in them early 2000s. So I don't know. Plus you get a cool Campbell cover, like I said. But still, Morlun's first appearance was here. Yeah, you get this kind of zombified vampire kind of look to him, because that's kind of his deal. He's kind of hunting spiders. So I don't know. We'll see. It's an interesting character, and just one of those books. Like I don't think a ton of people are talking about it, but I know a few are, and figure let's take a look at it, right? So first Morlun is in this ASM 30. Now, what does this book do if you're out there hunting and shopping? It could be anywhere from $7 at auction, or you got buy it nows at 40. There's also an auction that ended at 20. It can go from super cheap to expensive, depending, I guess, on condition and timing. It's really all timing as well, because there are still plenty of copies of this book out there, because I've seen this a ton. So, if you're interested, go hunt one for cheap. I would say do that. Don't go paying full market prices, because I just never say buy full market. It's just never my recommendation, but you do what you like. Up to you. So that's what I want to talk about with Spidey for this week. And now I want to shift gears just a little bit over into the X universe, which is another universe that I do care for, all the X-Men. But in particular, I haven't been keeping up with this storyline with the X-Trader and everything, but Marco and I kind of brushed over it on our Wednesday show, the live tax show. And this came up as a news item that Colossus was revealed to be, the Trader. And thought that was kind of interesting. Colossus is, kind of like that classic loyal type character. You wouldn't have picked him to be the one that would have been, behind, being the traitor. But it's revealed that it's not him. It's his brother, Mikhail Rasputin, who's actually pulling the strings through this other mutant there who can kind of write things to happen, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting take. This guy writes and things happen. But that being said, Colossus, kind of a shocking moment here, him murdering somebody in cold blood like this, but it makes the story kind of interesting. Definitely makes it kind of interesting. So go check that out. Again, this was last week as well. I think X-Force number 24, October 13th or thereabouts, I think it came out. But go look at that book if you're interested. I know all this this cover like sold out at the shops that I was looking for. They had another version of the cover, but this Colossus cover wasn't there. Yeah. So I don't know. People picking it up, I guess. That being said, again, the real person behind all this was his brother, Mikhail, who you can see his first appearance here in Uncanny 285. Yes, this was during that popular run of the X-Men where the title was being heavily printed. And this is when Will Weiss, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, Portacio, he took over after Jim Lee. So this is after Jim Lee had left Uncanny, and he was doing, just the X-Men, like the no adjective, the adjectiveless X-Men title at the same time. But this February 1992, first Mikhail Rasputin is in this book. Yeah, still kind of a cool book. One you can definitely still find out there for cheap if you go digging in those boxes, because, like I said, they printed a lot of these X books. And like I said, kind of a cool character. Colossus's brother. I mean, everybody loves his sister Magic, so why not give a little love to his brother Mikhail, right? And if you're looking for this book out there, you can still find this one for as cheap as $1.29, online, or $11. Again, that's with free shipping on the $11. So it is not an expensive book, but first appearances is in there, which is kind of cool. So on top of that, outside of that story and just sticking with the X universe and something that, again, Marco and I were talking about, he is a big fan of Vulcan, and that's the one I want to talk about next because he's just an interesting character, and I do think we should talk about that third Summers brother just a tiny bit, just to kind of remind you guys that he is out there. January 2006, X-Men Deadly Genesis 1 is the first appearance of Vulcan. This is where we finally get to find out who that third Summers brother was, and yeah, it's kind of interesting. Multiple covers on this. I tried to give away this cover during our tax show, but nobody entered. So I guess I'm going to have to give this to Marco because he said he wanted it. So I tried to give this book away to you guys, but nobody actually followed the instructions to actually enter. All you had to do was tell me what X-Men you wanted to see, and nobody did it. So Marco thanks you because I'm going to give this to him. That being said, that's one of the covers that you can get, the Joe Quesada cover on this one, as well as there is a Wolverine cover on this one as well. I like the Joe Q cover too, but I do have a couple of them. That's why I was giving one away. And yeah, that said, Vulcan, pretty cool look. I mean, and plus you get the whole cosmic thing. I'd love to see him introduced in the movies, but considering the X-Men now come to the MCU, they're going to have to kind of start over. Hopefully they don't start from scratch, but we're still going to have to do a lot of stuff here on Earth before we can get that cosmic side of things, I think. But I was hoping, and even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the Fox X-Men universe, they did a few things right that I did like, and I was kind of hoping they were going in the direction of space with the Shi'ar, especially with the Dark Phoenix saga that they tried to tell again, that just, again, fell flat. But maybe one day we'll get Vulcan. Maybe we'll get that third Summers brother up on the screen. I don't know. But again, first appears here, Deadly Genesis 1. Is a book you can still find out there. Prices could vary depending on where you're picking it up, because I know a lot of people have been looking at this book for one reason or another. But I don't know. I dig it. And I think it's one just to keep an eye on. Plus, it's got this cool cover. I like this kind of zombified Giant Size X-Men 1 take on this first one. This first issue here, the regular cover A. But as I said, you can look here. Here's examples of all the books, kind of what they sell for. The regular cover could be like $18, $20 on the Joe Quesada cover, and then that Wolverine. It seems to be the highest at $27, but again, I still like that middle one the best, my favorite. And then close second, I do like the homage, the zombified kind of homage, the Silvestri cover. Pretty close. But that's what I got this week. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I know it's a short one, but yeah, just a few books for you to talk about and take a look at when you're digging in those boxes. Just something to be mindful of when you're out there hunting. Hopefully you like that, and hopefully you like the other content here on the channel. As I said, I'm going to switch things up and try to do the Forgotten series now on Fridays. Thanks for stopping by and checking in. Let me know what you think in the comments. And I think I'm going to be doing a Forgotten variants for tomorrow for Saturday. I'm working on. It's Halloween time, so I want to do some fun kind of Halloween stuff. So I might be doing the vampire, the Marvel vampire covers, I think is what I'm going to cover tomorrow. And then I might do some of the zombies maybe next week. It's about time we get to some Halloween stuff. So I might be doing some more Halloween themed things in some of the other shows over the next week or so, because we only got like a week left. That all said, thanks for checking in again, and I will see you guys all soon.